being. But subsequently, artificial intelligence has not limited to only human intelligence. It has spread it across all other, like we will be talking nowadays. We talk bee. Bee has got certain behaviors. Ants have got certain behavior. Your swarm has got certain behavior. So even dogs, or you talk about cows, there are a lot of algorithms, that is, people are mimicking the behavior of the other creatures and bringing those intelligence to, or making the machine artificially intelligent, either to do the job which is human being is doing, but artificial intelligence is just not the mimicking the behavior of the human being or the other creatures. It is something beyond, like, can we do something better even as human being does? Or can we do something different? And artificial intelligence tries to do that. And artificial intelligence is the like when the machine was progressing from in terms of the speed of the devices, like you can see that we have come from the milliseconds to the microseconds to the nanoseconds, and we are talking about picoseconds. But subsequently, the fifth generation computer was completely based on the how to make the machine intelligence in the computing era. And initially, people were successful in terms of like when the first artificial intelligence systems came in, like you must have heard of that in the game of chess, even the world champion was beaten by the machine. And subsequently, we have talked about medical expert systems. But we were trying to playing soccer. We are playing, so the machine can act like a agent and go on. But subsequently, this has gone far beyond, and this evolution has taken place because as we progresses, our computing abilities also got increased. And these intelligent systems, when we want to make more and more closer to the human problem-solving behavior, we will need more computing ability, computing capability. So we are now talking about machine learning, we are talking about deep learning on all this. And this artificial intelligence has got a wide range of applications. In fact, if you really see, it has applications to the, like when we talk about a face recognition system, when we talk about a fingerprint recognition system, when we talk about an iris recognition system. Similarly, when we talk about the robotics, right? And robots are now doing a lot of jobs, and where human being has got a like non-reachability, the robots can go there and do the jobs. So there are a lot of applications. It has come to the medicines, it has come to the space research. Everywhere the artificial intelligence has drug design, natural language processing, whether we talk about speech recognitions, translation, like one person is speaking in Chinese, another person is speaking in Indian language, Hindi, they both can converse by a translator in between. When I talk in Hindi, that gets translated to Chinese or to Korean or whatever. So it has got a lot of applications, whether it is biometric system, whether it is natural language processing systems, and whether we talk about healthcare has become, and business intelligence has come in a big way. We can predict the behavior of the customers. We can predict the behavior of the market, what is happening tomorrow. So business is also applying to a greater extent. And even AI has been used in the education systems. Like we want to utilize to access the student behavior, to access the, reach out to the students, what kind of things they need, and how to develop their educational learning systems. And even you will see that now we are talking about autonomous vehicles. Like the vehicles can automatically, or self-driven system. And in fact, if you really see, some of you will be having in your mind that when artificial intelligence will come in, will it replace the behavior or replace the work of the human beings. In fact, to a certain extent, true, but it will, in fact, give us a different way of working, different methodology of working. In place of human being utilized for the routine activities, they will be doing something different, some innovative jobs. So that will make us more innovative. They will take us to a different world. So this particular workshop is meant for the CBSE teacher because, or why it is necessary for all of you. In fact, some part of the artificial intelligence courses will come into the curriculum in the +2 or the school level. The students start learning from the earlier days, and you people will be responsible for bringing it to the students that how artificial intelligence works. May not be in detail, at least in the overview how artificial intelligence, what is artificial intelligence is, how does it work, what are the methodologies adopted, and then subsequently the students develop an interest from the school days and come forward to take up subsequently in the higher, when he comes either to the engineering education, medical education. In fact, artificial intelligence has got no bar. And the concept that artificial intelligence needs computer scientists is a complete myth. In fact, it has got it needs an amalgamation. I need a psychologist, I need a cognitive scientist, I need a computer scientist, I need an electronic scientist. So it is, in fact, required. And the application domain is very, very large. It can be applied in all fields. Now people are not talking about only few areas. It can be talked to the building design, to the VLSI chip design. So everywhere it has got a lot of applications. So all domain of people can contribute to this particular field. So with this, I once again welcome all of you, and I wish all of you to have a wonderful sessions and learn as much as possible. Interact with your resource persons as much as possible so you learn better. I think all of you must have been learned little bit of artificial intelligence in different forums, different domains. So once again, I wish all of you best of luck and wish you a wonderful 2-3 days workshop, whatever it is, with your resource person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir has kindly accepted, even though in his busy schedule. Today is the first year orientation program. So thank you so much for joining with us, sir, and give us such a kind words.
Thank you very much. All good.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. So today we'll continue the first session, which is taken by me. I'll introduce myself. Let me share the screen first. Subin, can you disconnect that? Okay.
Ma'am, can you give me some 5 minutes? I'll actually prepare a Google sheet regarding this. Some people are finding it difficult to join. So for them, I had to prepare a Google sheet and share it with everyone. Oh, shall I turn off recording or let the recording also be there for now?
No. Let it be. I will continue.
Okay.
kindly switch off the mic, please. Yeah, thank you. Is my screen visible? Both the. Fine. So now, with the words given by the director, so I'm giving more stuff on the artificial intelligence. Sir has given enough idea where the artificial intelligence has begun, and a few of the applications Sir has also pointed out. I am the organizer of this workshop. So let me introduce myself. I am Dr. J. Umarani or Umarani Jayaraman. I'm working as an assistant professor in Computer Science Department, IIT Kanchipuram. And my area of interest is that machine learning, deep learning, biometrics, and then medical image processing. So with this background, I welcome all of you once again to this 5 days FDP program on artificial intelligence and its applications. So yeah. So yeah. Is it visible? Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Both the. On both the links, right? On both the links.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine, right? So shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Share the same presentation. So, okay. I'll tell.
Okay.
It's visible.
So with this introduction, so let us begin the session 1, and then we will continue learning throughout all 5 days with enthusiastically. So the word artificial intelligence is this is just a definition. More about I'll introduce slowly in the first part of the workshop. Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science dedicated to creating an intelligent machines that work and react like a human brain. Okay, so machine is a machine, and we want to transfer some intelligence to the machine as the human thinks. How do you make the machine think intelligent so that it will take the wise decision as the human being does? That is called the field artificial intelligence. And there are so many subfields obviously comes under an artificial intelligence that I'm going to introduce in this slide. So the term artificial, this is the definition. The term artificial intelligence is the ability to solve the problems. So what are the problem solved skill in real world applications that as Sir has given? Face recognition problem. The machine has to identify the faces or the name of the person automatically and then admit or allow him to some specific kind of situations. So in biometrics, we do that person authentication or person identification. So a machine has to do that automatically instead of human. So as a human, humans are more intelligent in recognizing the person and then admit him or her to some environment. But as a machine, if you take the decision, that machine has to take a decision, then obviously the machine has to have some intelligence or how the human behaves, like the human, what type of intelligence the human has. If the machine has, then it will easy for the machine to do that particular task. Okay, so that is what a face recognition problem. There are so many other applications or comes under, but we will stick with this kind of problem so that it will, all the relevant real world application problem is more similar to this one. And the ability to act rationally. So the second point T is missing because the word T is not working in my definition. So the ability to act rationally and the ability to act like humans. Okay, so artificial intelligence, you make the machine to act like a human, to make the decisions like the human is taking the decision. That is called artificial intelligence. And the more about artificial intelligence is that, so artificial means you are, you are generating something artificial or transforming the intelligence that what the human has. All human has the natural intelligence, and you're trying to slowly transfer that intelligence to the machine so that machine can also think like the human. So that is called, you are transforming the intelligence which is not actually there in the machine. That is called artificial. So the first term artificial is that it is not existing actually, but you are trying to transform the intelligence into the machine so that the artificial intelligence, it takes, the intelligence means the capacity to learn and solve the problem. Okay, so that much capacity you transfer to the machine and then it will solve some real world problems. And so it is the simulation of human intelligence by machine. Okay, so all we mean is that in 2-3 slides, or the sir have given that all you want to make in one sentence, we want to make the machine think as intelligent as the human. This is the one-line definition of the word artificial intelligence. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, as I said that there are several subdomains comes under artificial intelligence. The very important domains that comes under the moment we say artificial intelligence, there are two subdomains that will support what kind of problem that we want to solve in the real world applications. So let us look more in detail. Now you see this diagram, Venn diagram. So this the bigger portion is that artificial intelligence, and then the subdomain is the machine learning, and another subdomain is the deep learning. So now let us look each term separately. Artificial intelligence, a technique for incorporating human intelligence to machines. So it is a technique to incorporate the intelligence into a machine, as I have given enough definitions for the artificial intelligence. It is a superset of ML and DL. ML stands for machine learning, DL stands for deep learning. So you can see this Venn diagram, it is a superset of ML and then DL. Machine learning, it is a subfield of AI. So it is a subfield of artificial intelligence that comprises of algorithms and statistical model used by machines to perform a specific task and to improve the accuracy So the difference is that artificial intelligence defines the problem, whereas the machine learning will act as a tool to complete that problem. So that is the prior definition. So machine learning, the word machine learning, we say that it comprises of several algorithms and statistical models and then tools in order to address that problem, or in order to solve the problem very simple, or it will make the problem solving skill very easy. So these days we make use of machine learning tools to solve the problem that is defined, comes under the artificial intelligence. Okay, so the previously or traditionally the machines cannot able to think of recognizing the faces very accurately, but as of now in this era the machine can intelligently recognize the faces, and then even it will do much more better what the human we are going to do in this era. So that kind of intelligence is possible with this task is possible with the help of machine learning tools. Okay, so the machine learning tools make the task easier. So we will make use of machine learning tools to implement or to solve the task that is defined by the artificial intelligence. So the moment we talk about the machine learning in this era, so the deep learning is also play an important role. So it is the subfield of the machine learning that uses the artificial neural network, okay, which mimics the actual human brain, where it involves to solve the real world problem. Deep learning comes under the machine learning, which make use of artificial neural network for computation or to build the model for giving the accurate results. Okay, so the more about machine learning and more about deep learning, we will going to explore throughout this 5 days course program. So I have given the enough definition. So now you see this artificial intelligence is the broader domain and machine learning is the subdomain of artificial intelligence, and then deep learning is the subdomain of the artificial intelligence. So in one word, if I could summary, artificial intelligence define the real world problem task that whatever the intelligence that human is doing, the same kind of intelligence or decision making has to be done by the machine. Okay, and you define some specific task. That task can be solved easily using the machine learning and then deep learning. So I can say that machine learning and then deep learning act as a tool to solve the task defined by the artificial intelligence easy. That's all. And so coming to the individual domain machine learning, let us talk about machine learning. So I will give 10 minutes time to discuss. If you have any questions, I will give 10 minutes discussion at the end of the session. If you have any questions to ask, you please kindly note or keep ready. We will discuss at the end. So let us discuss about the machine learning. It is a type of artificial intelligence that allows software applications to learn from the data, okay, and become more accurate in predicting outcomes without human intervention. So the learning is nothing but you make the machine itself learn from where it learned. It will learn from the data. Okay, you provide, as long as you have the data or as long as the more data the machine has, it tries to learn the relevant informations from the data, and it learns or keep the update itself, and then it will better in performing the task in future. That's all. Okay, so the word machine learning is that the machine itself try to learn through data that we are providing to the machine. Okay, so this is as simple as possible. As a resultant, in future, it will try to recognize or identify the data or the whatever the data that we feed. It will try to predict what it is or which category it is without human intervention. Okay, for the very first time, human may be involved. Human is act like a teacher, and then we will give the instruction. So if you see this is the picture. If you see this set of properties, this is apple. If you see this set of properties, this is an orange. So we will instruct to the machine learn by itself. As long as we provide the more data, it will learn better. So in future, when it sees similar kind of apple or oranges which is not there in the data, it will try to predict the results as fast as possible without actually human intervention. That is called machine learning. So the basic idea behind machine learning is to mimic the way as our human brain works. Okay, so it exactly mimic and then take a wise decision with the data which is available or which is fed to the machine. That is called machine learning. So as I said that, let me repeat, machine learning and deep learning, it acts as a tool to define a specific task. To be precise, let me make this statement very clear. All of you, because you are all working as a teacher, and if you want to prepare a document about your school, let's say if the task is given to you, the problem statement, the task is to write a one-page report about your school, let's say. So the task is nothing but writing one page is the task. Now how do we do is that we will make use of the tool. So what are the tools that you usually do? You will go for the Microsoft Word. So you will make use of Word, or some other software application. If you are familiar with the LaTeX, we will make use of this. If you are familiar with the LaTeX, it will make the task very easy and accurate when compared to the word processor. So now the word processor and the LaTeX are the software in order to achieve the task, which is nothing but writing one-page write-up about your school. So it is same as here. The task is given to recognize the faces, and we will make use of the machine learning where algorithms are available ready, and we will make use of deep learning to make the task as simple as possible. So this is to understand better, because all of us working in word processor, or some of us are working in LaTeX to prepare document day by day. So I think it will be clear for you. And coming to the deep learning is a particular kind of machine learning algorithm that is inspired by the functionality of our brain cell called neurons. So in order to understand more about the deep learning, we have to understand the functionality of how our human brain works. So by keeping that as a motivation, and people have introduced the deep learning, which exactly works the model of the human brain, which is also called as artificial neural network. Okay, so more about artificial neural network and then deep learning we will study at the end of the course. And coming to the definition of machine learning and the deep learning, as I said, that this will act as a tool to solve a specific task. So when you come to the machine learning, traditionally machine learning is the biggest tool. So if the image, let's say this car image is given as an input, okay, in order to say that machine, in order to say that it is a car, okay, the machine has to say that it is a car. So what kind of important step that has to follow is that we have to extract the feature. Okay, so what is feature? So we may call sometimes if an object has some shape, or if it has 4 wheels, or based on some shape, color. So based on that, we will understand that if it falls this kind of set of properties or set of measurements, okay, so that will identify. So that is also called as feature extraction phase. So we will extract the feature out of the input images, and then we will try to understand that feature by giving an classification model or classification algorithm, so that it will try to understand this feature in more better, and then it will give the output as it is a car or it is not a car. Okay, so all I mean is that it will try to find the associated features which is relevant to the car and which is not relevant to the car, and then it will try to take a decision. If at all it could see the set of features, then it will identify automatically that these are the car, and if at all it is not following the set of properties of the feature, then it will identify that the given input is not a car. Okay, this is ideal working model of a machine learning. After introducing this deep neural network, this is also called as deep learning. It will eliminate the process of the feature extraction, because feature extraction is an important step. If we miss an important step, important feature, let's say, then it probably become more complex for the machine to take the decision that whether it is a car or not a car. Sometimes even though if we give the car images, the machine can say it is not a car. So it is so important to understand the feature associated for the car images, and it is so painful job. Okay, painful job in the sense it is for the machine to extract the relevant feature, although the shape is slightly different. For example, instead of a small car, if we give a big car and then different models, in those situations it has to identify the relevant features which is associated for the car. So the task of extracting the feature is somehow it is painful. So in recent era, the feature extraction task, which finds it very difficult, also made easy. So you'll incorporate this feature extraction and then classification in one specific box. Now for you, you no need to worry what kind of features that we have to extract. Now you simply feed that the input. So whatever the input that you want to identify, you give that as an input to the machine, and the machine itself is the responsible for extracting the relevant features, and then it will try to understand what type of association or is there among itself and to represent the set of features, and then it will try to classify by themselves. Okay, so now in this recent era, the task of feature extraction and then classification have become very simple with the help of deep learning tool. So with this important point, let us move to the next slide. So I have given the enough difference between what is the machine learning and then deep learning. Both machine learning and deep learning act as a tool to complete a specific task that requires in real world problems, whereas machine learning tool is a traditional model which extract the features and then try to classify the extracted feature based on some algorithms. Whereas deep learning, which will try to rectify the problem of extracting the feature by itself. So it incorporates both the feature extraction phase as well as the classification phase into one single model. So for the developers, if you want to develop or if you want to solve some problem, it is possible for you without any difficulty. You feed only the images and then write the deep learning algorithm or model, which is available ready-made function in programming stuff, and then it will try to classify the task such as car or not a car. Very simple. So it will simplifies us the task of problem solving very easy after introducing the machine learning and then deep learning. Now comes to so this is about the machine learning and deep learning. Now we will talk about more. So these are the terminologies. So we will make use of these terms heavily from tomorrow onwards. So it's better to give introduction about the terminologies that we use for solving real-time applications. So one type of problem that we solve is the image classification. So any type of images is given, it tries to classify on its own. And the other is that natural language processing. So when you are giving when the input that is given to the natural image processing is not an image. The input is something of text. So depending on the problem solving applications, the given input is also vary. So all is dependent on the data. Okay, what type of task that you are solving and what type of data that we are supposed to feed in order to solve that particular task. Okay, so it is not always the images, it is sometimes audio or video. You might have heard about the signal. For example, if you want to solve some signal processing domain, it's a 1D signal. So usually in healthcare domain, people take the ECG of our human, that is called as electro ECG, and then it is a 1D signal, and then we do process that 1D signal to classify whether the person is affected with the heart diseases or not. So sometimes it will be a signal, and voice is also considered as a signal. Text is a text. A text document is treated as a text, and then images. So it is a collection of different inputs, and depending on what type of problem that we want to solve, we have to feed the relevant inputs. So the data is the common terminology, and coming under the data, we have to feed different types of data so that we want to solve a specific task of the problem, specific task. So coming to the data, we have two categories. One is called the categorical data, and the other one is called the numerical data. So what do you mean by categorical data? Variables have values that can only be placed into categories such as yes or no. Okay, so sometimes we have to give the data that comes under categorical type, For example, you can say the marital status, policy party, eye color, and then sensor like high or low temperature, proximity. So such type of data comes under categorical. So depending on what type of problems that you solve, sometimes it may use categorical kind of data. And coming to the numerical kind of data, so the variables have values that represents the quantities. Okay, so when you represent some data in terms of quantities, that comes under the numerical type. So coming under the numerical type, we have the two different subcategories called discrete and then continuous. Discrete is that you can say that how many number of children that you have, and then you can count defects per hour. Okay, so these are all comes under the discrete. And continuous, you can say that weight and then voltage, sales, account balance, and then sensor stream data, whether it will rain today or not. So all this type of dealing the problem deals this continuous type of data. Okay, so depends on the problem, we have to choose a different kind of data, and this kind of data can be categorized into categorical as well as numerical. So this is a note. And coming to the type of learning, as I said that, so this broader picture we have already seen. So the broader picture is that artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then deep learning. Okay, so when we talk about this, we have to obviously, so what is that machine learning? Machine learning is a subdomain of artificial. We have to make the machine learn by itself so that it will, or you're trying to transform the machine as intelligent as human. Okay, so which actually help to make the machine think intelligent as the human? Obviously the machine learning algorithms or the statistical tool that is all, that is actually help the machine to think better as human does, because human sometimes is not more accurate. Okay, so artificial
I think it may be a power issue. We will wait for ma'am to join back. It must be a power issue. Okay. So sorry for any inconvenience. Yes, ma'am will join soon. She'll join soon.
Is it visible on both?
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute. Yeah, screen is visible. Yeah. 10 PPT.
Okay, from where I have to continue?
Which
I
is,
think this is fine, right? Type of learning.
I think so. Comments.
Yes, this was the slide going on.
Okay. Sorry, I could not notice that I have got disconnected. Thank you for noticing it. Okay, so types of learning, as I said, that the more machine learns, is more accurate the results. So we have to make the machine learning as much as possible so that the result of predicting or the classification will become more accurate. So depending on the type of learning, we can categorize it into three major groups known as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then reinforcement learning. So coming to this picture, we have broadly classified supervised, unsupervised, and then reinforcement learning. Now, what are the problems that comes under supervised learning is that regression and then classification. So the more about regression and then classification I will discuss later. Coming under regression, so we have a linear regression and then we have a polynomial regression. So regression also refers that predicting. Okay, so after you make the curve fit for linearly for the given input x and y, we have to predict if we give the input x and what is its corresponding value, which is y. So it is like estimating something in future. Okay, that comes under regression, or predicting the value in future, that comes under regression. And decision tree, random forest are all make use for regression problems. And supervised learning can also have the classification, the task of classification, which I said that you want to classify whether the image is car or not a car, or you want to say that the given images is a face image or not a face images. So this comes under the classification task. And what are the algorithm that will help to classify the images better is that KNN, K nearest neighbor algorithm, and then trees. Trees is nothing but the decision tree, logistic regression, and then naive Bayes, and then SVM. So these are all the different algorithms that will actually help to do the classification task. And in the unsupervised learning, what we have is the clustering. Okay, so clustering, and then we have association analysis, and then hidden Markov model. Fine. And then reinforcement learning, which is different from the supervised and then unsupervised learning. So all we mean is that this kind of regression problem and then clustering problem will make use of the continuous data. Okay. And whereas the classification and the hidden Markov model problem will try to make use the categorical data. So what is categorical data? Given some image as an input, you have to say whether yes or no problem, whether the image is a dog or not a dog. So it is like a yes or no. And whether given medical imaging, you want to say whether this particular image is affected with some disease or not. So these kind of yes or no question can be addressed with the classification and then hidden Markov model. So this type of problem will deal the categorical data, whereas the regression problem and the clustering problem deals the continuous data. Okay. So now we'll look more about supervised learning. So this is very simple. Supervised learning is that it is where we have an input variable, which is x. Okay, what we want to have an association mapping. So what is that association mapping? Is that y equal to f of x. Now what is x, what is y is defined here. It is where we have an input variable x. So x is the input variable called features. Sometimes we will call that feature. You recall that in machine learning, we have to extract the features manually and then feed that as a classification. But that feature is treated as an input for us, which is x over here, and then try to map its corresponding variable, which is y. Okay, this y is also called as labels. Okay, so what is label, what is feature? I will explain more in detail. So it just, this learning try to map, okay, it's a mapping function from the input x to the output y. That's all. So the supervised learning has the variable x and it will try to map the variable x to the output variable, which is y. Y is also called as label. So the goal is that when we have a new input data, so once we try to map for all the input x that you have, the goal is that in future, when it sees the input data, which is not seen earlier, okay, that is also called as new set of data. Okay, when a new set of data is given whose value is x, okay, and the machine will try to predict its corresponding variable, which is y, for that data which is having the x, okay, which is a feature. So now why it is called supervised learning? Now you see this picture, this will become more clear to you. So now you see these are the set of images, which is also called as input data. You are also giving annotations. Annotation means you have to give this, that say that these are apples. So this is also called as labels. Okay, so we will give the label y in addition to these images, which is I. So what is the label? The label is nothing but apple. Okay, so during training, we give some set of images. Also, along with that, we will also give some annotations, and that is also called as label, so that the machine will, any model, any machine learning algorithm will take the input as an image as well as the label y, and then it will try to learn as much as possible. And then when a new data, so this is a new data which is not even a part of a training or not a part of the learning algorithm. Okay, what is training and then testing, I will explain later. But when a new set of images, okay, which is given, which is not a part of learning model, okay, it will try to classify that it is an apple in the future. So it tries to predict, or it will try to classify that it is an apple correctly. Now you note down, so what are the two that we have given as an X? We have given an input image, which is I, set of images having similar features, okay, which is X. Okay, X is nothing but the similar features, which is representing in the image I. And then we have also given its corresponding Y. So you also know what kind of category this kind of images belongs to. So what is the category? These are all belongs to the apple. Although it comes under fruit, more specifically, these are all apples. So the label also we have given in association with the input feature. Then in near future, whenever a new data which have not seen before, it will try to classify that the picture is an apple correctly. So it is like exactly like when you are teaching to the nursery school or play school, a teacher tries to show that play card showing an apple. Okay. Now, for the very first time, he will show that this is the picture of an apple and A for apple. And then she will teach as much as possible until the human intelligence learned that this is an apple. So hence the human has a natural intelligence by repeatedly saying the same picture again and again to the play school kids. Then after you teach, after you complete the learning process, after 1 week, when you show the images of an apple which is similar to that, the kid tries to learn that, or she or he will try to say that this is an apple. So this is same as what we come here. So in supervised learning, there is a notion of teaching mechanism. So there will be a learner. Who is the learner? The kids are learner, a teacher who is trying to teach. So there is someone who is always supporting in the learning concepts. Okay, so that is also called as supervised learning, so that the machine tries to learn by itself. Okay, whenever the machine tries to learn falsely or negatively, then the teacher will be there to correct. For example, if you show the images of an apple, if the kid is showing that it is grape, then you are there to teach that it is not a grape, it is an apple. So similarly, the learning, if at all the learning has some supervision, okay, like a teacher, then that kind of algorithm is also called as supervised learning. So the task of supervised learning is that whenever a machine take incorrect answer or incorrect solution, it will try to correct the machine, saying that this is correct, this is not correct. So that kind of learning comes under the supervised learning. Now, when coming to the unsupervised learning, so now you see this, this picture makes it clear. So you are giving a collection of fruits, okay, and we are not even saying that what it is. Okay, there is no actual label, which is y. Y is missing, but we will give x, but not only one x. We have several x, right? So we have collection of fruits. For example, apple. Let's say apple all says x1, and banana takes all the feature, which is x2, and so on. Okay, some other fruits which is taking x3. So there are 3 different kind of fruits put all together, and then we are trying to give to the machine. Now here the task is to learn this and then try to mapping the images which is of similar in nature. Okay, similar in nature in the sense it will try to extract the set of feature which is associated to apple, let's say x1, and then set of feature associated to banana, let's say x2, and then set of feature associated with some berries, let's say x3, and try to make the similar patterns, which is x1, into one group. Okay, so hence it will try to classify the similar item, which is apple, in one group, and the other similar item, which is a berry, in the other group, and then bananas in the other group. So now there is no concept of labeling. Okay, so the meaning is that, so it is where we have only an input variable x called the feature and no corresponding output variable y. So in case of unsupervised learning, what we have is only x. What we do not have is the variable y. So there is no label given during learning. So in that situation also, machine has to try to learn. So if such type of learning happens, that kind of learning algorithm comes under the unsupervised learning. So the unsupervised learning is that the goal is to model the underlying structure. So how it learns? It will try to learn the underlying patterns or the distribution of the data in order to learn more about the data which is very similar. Okay, it will dig more on the data and then try to form an association among the data and then try to group the data which is more similar in nature. So it tries to form a group which has similar feature. So that will be the resultant of the learning algorithm. We are not actually giving that it is an apple during learning. So this is the learning process, right? Up to this learning process, we are not giving any additional label, which is y. Y is missing here. So we will not give y. So no labels here. But upon giving the input images, the machine itself tries to learn the similar patterns out of this. The patterns is also called as feature out of the given images and try to form a group which has the similar features in nature. So this type of algorithms comes under unsupervised learning. As I said before that unsupervised learnings the clustering. The clustering, you know, clustering means try to form the similar items into one group. That comes under unsupervised learning algorithm. Okay, so there are many clustering algorithms comes under the very important clustering algorithm is the K-means clustering. Apart from that, we have some dimensionality reduction problem, which is also called as PCA, principal component analysis, and then SVD, that also comes under clustering mechanism. But what we are going to learn under unsupervised learning algorithm is the clustering. So that you will explore more in detail. The last one, the third type of algorithm is the reinforcement learning. It involves an autonomous agent. So this is completely different from the two learning algorithm that we have discussed, which is supervised and then unsupervised learning. So it involves an autonomous agent that observes the environment and then select an action that will lead to rewards. So there will be an agent and then it will observe the environment, and depending on that environment, it will take the action, okay, that will lead to some reward. Fine. So we are not, although it comes under learning, we are not going to discuss more on reinforcement learning because it comes under separate subdomain under the learning algorithm. But the best example of the reinforcement learning is that when you try to create a game, okay. So when we try to create a game, it will take like decision. When you move to the next step, it will say that you are in the current state and this is your reward. Okay. So when you go to the new state, then it will say that if you go to this state, then this is your reward. So depending on that, every state or every action, there will be a reward pointer. And then you will try to take the decision based on the reward, and then you will try to maximize the reward. So especially this type of learning algorithm is used in creating the game and then robot navigation, because robot, when it navigates, it has to see if there is any obstacle. If there is an obstacle, then it has to go back a little bit and then try to take another route which is in the right direction. So when it moves forward direction, then it will say that the award may be less, so it has to go back a little bit and then take a different direction. So in that state, in that kind of applications, reinforcement learning is used. And altogether, it's a summary of type of learning. So we have seen that 3 different learning algorithms, which is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then reinforcement learning. So supervised learning is specifically used for task-driven. Okay, task-driven in the sense you wanted to do a specific task. For example, classification. So in classification problem, you know the categories already. So it is classification also called as known categories. So under known categories, you try to classify the problems. For example, grouping all A's, and then alphabetical and then numerical is given. Try to classify whether it is a numerical type or whether it is an alphabetical type, where the alphabetical and then numerical is already known to us, and then we try to classify if someone is right, or if the machine tries to write A, then the machine has to say that it is an alphabet. If it tries to, if we feed the images saying the number, the machine has to say that it is a number. So classification is nothing but it will try to classify the known categories. Okay. And then regression is also comes under supervised learning. So under supervising, we have 2 different type of problem solving, classification and then regression. In unsupervised learning, we have what is called as data driven. Why it is data driven? Because we are not giving any label. Okay, we are giving only the set of images, and then it will try to extract the features out of it, which is and then try to form a strong association between these features, and that is dependent on heavily data. So based on the data, it will try to form the cluster. So it is mostly on the data driven. clustering and then learning categories. So this is like learning categories means by looking at the feature, it will try to learn more about it. So the more the data, it will more the learning. It will learn more better, and then it will try to form the associated similar items into one group. So sometimes we called unsupervised learning as data driven, supervised learning is the task driven, and then reinforcement learning, it's like an agent learns to interact with environment to achieve a reward. One second. Sir, session எடுத்துட்டு இருக்கேன் சார். கொஞ்சம் எடுத்துட்டு நான் பண்றேன் சார். ஓகே. யார் வரல சார்? அப்படிங்களா சார்? ஓகே ஓகே. பார்த்து சொல்லுங்க சார். So agent learns to interact with environment to achieve a reward. For example, another important example, baby learning to walk, and then when we learn the bicycle. So for the very first time, how do we learn the cycle? We will slowly do the pedal, and then we will slowly try to manage ourselves to balance and then learning cycle. So based on the state, okay, you will try to change the action. Okay, there will be a state, and then they take an action so that you will try to not falling down as frequently as possible. So this kind of example will actually deal with the reinforcement learning. So for the very first time when baby is also walking, so it tries to make herself or himself balance. So these are all real examples where the reinforcement learning actually plays. Now coming to the applications of AI. So as we have, you have very good introduction of AI. You have seen varieties of AI applications in your mobile phone itself. Apart from that, put together in e-commerce. Okay, in e-commerce, example in the recommendation systems. Okay, when you buy a particular product, it will also recommend that you may also buy this. Okay, if you purchase a toothpaste, then it will also recommend to buy a brush. So there an application of AI plays an important role. So in case of recommendation system, advertising, and then customer product support. So in order to boost their product, they will use heavily the AI in case of e-commerce application. And then virtual assistant. Virtual assistant, there will be a chatbot, and then you will directly interact with the chatbot in order to provide an assistant for us. So that also you might have experienced in real world application. And in image recognition, so image recognition, like I said, that face recognition. And then sometimes it has to say whether the given particular person is a male or female. Okay. So there is an exact classification. The classification is nothing but male and female. And male and female are comes under the classification problem, which is also called as image recognition. And then in social media, we use heavily on the sentimental analysis and then spam filtering. Okay, in your inbox, email inboxes, we have a collection of email, and then it will automatically segregate whether it is a normal mail or a spam mail. If it is important, it will try to classify into a normal mail. If it is not an important, it will try to classify as spam. So AI is used in social media, and then financial services, and then healthcare. So it reaches a lot of application in healthcare, where AIs are used heavily in diagnosing the diseases and then try to provide the solution for the diseases. So put together, you can call it as machine learning or AI, because machine learning comes under AI. So application of AI is vast. Okay, it has reached in almost all different applications into real world problems. Now, when we talk about solving any particular task, it can be broadly comes under this flow diagram. Okay, what we want is that, suppose if we want to solve a specific task, it will try to frame into two main phases, which is also called as training phase and then testing phase. Okay, in the training phases, what we will follow is that we will follow any type of learning algorithm that we have discussed right now. It could be supervised learning, it could be unsupervised learning, it could be reinforcement learning. But there will be definitely a training phase. The training phase is also known as learning phase of a machine. Okay, or machine itself learning, or we train the machine to learn. Okay, so depending on we train the machine, this will also called as training phase. But learning happens by machine. Okay, who is giving a training? We are giving a training to the machine. So it will also comes under training phase. How do we make the machine train? Based on the data. So you provide as long as the data that you have. So there will be training is dependent heavily on the data. Okay, so you give more data and more it will learn. Okay, if you show more or many pictures of an apple images of different varieties, the more you show to the kids, and then more the learning happens better, and then she will try to accurately recognize an apple in future. Okay, so it is all dependent how much we train, how much more we train is more the accurate. So more data if you provide, more the learning happens. So when you provide data, naturally it will extract the features, and then based on the feature that will feed to the estimator algorithm, which is nothing but the tool. Okay, algorithm is nothing but the set of statement written already, and it will try to learn this feature. In addition to this algorithm, we will also give label. If we give the label, then it is called as supervised learning. If we ignore this label, then it will try to learn by itself by try to map the relevant features similar to this, and then the learning also comes under unsupervised learning. So it depends on the labels that we provide. If we provide the label, then it is called supervised learning. If it is not providing, then it is called unsupervised learning. Then once the training phase is ready, in the testing phase, you take a new data. The new data is not a part of this training data. So this is completely new for this environment. And then it will try to extract the feature, the machine will try to extract the feature from the new data, and then it will make use of the training algorithm, which is already prepared. Then that has to be feed, right? So because it has learned already about based on the feature, it is already learned, and then it will make use of that learning concepts. Okay, that is a part here, and then try to predict the model where or what it is. So that is also called as prediction or classification. So it will make use of the training or learning that has been happened during training phases in order to say that new data is what type of classes it is, or what is the actual prediction value later on. That is also called as testing phase. Testing phase is the one for the new data. It has to say what is the value. Okay, the more the training or more the data that you given, more the training happens, more learning happens. The more learning happens, the more is the accuracy. So all is that if you want more accuracy, you have to provide better or enough data so that learning happens more. Okay. Now the next one is, why is AI and ML are trending now? Okay, it is not actually the concept of neural network or artificial intelligence is recently launched. So although it is there since 1960s, but the trend of AI and then ML becomes more recently. So why? Because these are the thing. So 85% of the growth from new types of data with machine generated data increases 15 into X. Okay, so the data have increased enormously recently. Now you see, since 2012, the world of digital universe have come into the world. Okay, so since 2012, the documents, email, unstructured data, then weblogs, and then social networks, okay, where everyone is uploading the data, and then data becomes freely, and then it has become very large. Okay, so as I said that if you want learning better, we want to provide more data. So the data has become increasing enormously recently, and by 2040, if you see, the digital universe data will increase by 160 zettabytes, okay, which is a tremendous amount of growth in the data. Now in 2012, we have 20 zettabytes. Okay, by 2040 it will be 160 zettabytes. So enough data is available freely on the internet, so that the learning happens much more easily, so that the accurate results will happen in near future. Okay, apart from data, so the first point I discussed is that availability of the data. Okay, so the availability of data has increased recently with the increases of more social networks. And apart from that, there is a computing power. So the computing power is also become very easily. So GPU, okay, graphic processor unit, that makes parallel processing faster and cheaper and then powerful. Okay, in 20 years back, the computing devices, okay, there will be a lack of computing devices, even if you want to take one. So if you recall in your school days, you might have seen the floppy disk. The size of the floppy disk is 1.4 megabyte. Okay, when I was studied in my colleges, that was the maximum capacity that you can carry external. But now you think of, you can carry in terms of terabyte. Even in your laptop, you will get 1 terabyte of hard disk. The computing devices also make the AI and the artificial intelligence, because it deals lots of data in terms of images. But storing and then processing the images is which require more computation power. So the storage has become very easy, and the data availability of the data have also increased recently. Because of these, AI and then AL have become trendy in recent years, or after 2012. So the availability of the more computation power, so which become faster, because Google Colab that you are going to use, which will provide the GPU processor, make easily, and then availability of the processor is become easy and then powerful. So you no need to pay anything. So it becomes more cheaper. Okay, and then GPU and then RAM has become much cheaper and faster over the years. So nowadays we have 16 GB of RAM, which is make available in our laptop. In olden days, it was very less. So that processing of the images will take a huge amount of processing time, and then processor that makes availability of this processor is faster. I mean, make the things very cheaper. The third point is that ready algorithms and then implementation. So now we have better software development approaches, so that we can have ready-made solution or algorithm. So just make use of those algorithm and then try to solve the problem as easy as possible. So you no need to implement anything from the scratch, that you will understand when you go for the Google Colab or Python program. And then the new technologies, okay, cloud computing. So you can store the enormous data in the cloud platform. Okay, whenever even if you forget, for example, if you want to carry your certificate, you store somewhere in the cloud, for example, Dropbox and so on. And wherever you want to travel all over the world, you no need to carry any documents with you. And then wherever you go, you try to download those documents or important document with you. So you carry all your information freely, and you can move all over the world with the help of the new technologies called cloud computing. And then big data, real-time streaming. Okay, real-time streaming, you make use of WhatsApp. Instantly you can share the images, and then you can share all the information. So because of the new technologies, availability of new technologies, and then ready-made algorithms, and then computation power, availability of the data, and then packages, more user-friendly packages such as R programming, MATLAB, Python programming. Python programming is become very easy because it is on open source. Okay, no need to pay any license to software. You make use of that Python programming freely because it is open source. All these points put together, and then because of this, the area of AI and the machine learning has become trendy these days. Whereas all these have lack before 20 years. Okay, so that's the important. So these are the important concepts. I would like to say that in recent years, the AI and then machine learning has become more trendy. Although the AI has launched some 20 years, 30 years back. So with this, I will complete. I have something which I will continue in the next section about the patterns. If we have time, we will continue that, or we will discuss, go for the discussion mode.
So if people have any doubts, maybe they can ask.
Good morning, ma'am. I hope you can hear
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go to the flow diagram?
One second.
This one. So the first you said is that data and the new data. What is the difference? Like if it is apples in the training data, the new data you can include bananas and oranges. Is that what you mean by new data?
No. New data is something like apple only, but this apple is something different from the apple that you have taken for the training. See, always you have to say that if you are training that it is an apple, for during training you have to take a varieties of apples. That apple may have different shape, and then color may be different. No, somewhere it is dark red. Some apple have the light red, and then some green apples are there. So we will deal all different kinds of features. So all apples, there will be plus and minus with respect to the shape, and then with respect to the colors. And as a human, we are intelligent to differentiate that it is an apple. Okay, so we have to show different kinds of apple, and then teach or learn. The machine has to learn by showing different varieties of apple picture. Okay, and these whatever the apple picture that you have taken during training, you will not take the same for the testing. Maybe when you take a new apple, it will completely, that is an apple, of course, but that will have not exactly that you have taken for the training. It can have little bit difference with respect to the shape, with respect to the color, or with respect to some other additional features. Even then, the algorithm tries to say that it is an apple. Of course, if some possibility of error may be there, we want to minimize the error.
Yeah. Now, in the testing phase, can we say it is unsupervised learning, because in the testing phase it is just predicting the machine itself as to predict?
No, it is not. Testing phase will not be unsupervised learning. The learning comes during training only. Okay, so why do you say that supervised learning, unsupervised learning? During training, if you teach that, so this is an apple, if you give that information additionally with respect to the images, you're also giving the annotation, says that it is an apple. For example, if you group apple, you create a folder called apple, and then in that folder, you copy all the images of an apple in that folder. And then you you create a folder called banana, and then under that folder, you copy all the bananas. Now the folder name apple and then bananas act as a label, okay, which is nothing but the what is that annotation. That information we will make use during training. Okay, so training means the learning happens during training phase. Learning is not happening during testing phase. So testing is that once the learning is completed, we will try to apply whether my learning process has happened correctly or how much it is accurate. So in order to test that learning process, when we come to the real world situations, you take the new one and then see that whether it is saying correctly. So the learning is not happening at the testing phase at all. Learning happens during training phase. That's all. Yeah. Mm. Yes. I have given the picture. Now this, you look at this. So are you seeing that machine learning and deep learning? Machine learning is also a tool. Deep learning is also a tool. Okay, tool in the sense you will make use of these algorithm available, ready-made available algorithms or some statistical tools. Okay, and then with the help of these tools, you try to solve the problem. So what is the problem? You want to say whether the given images is a car or not. Okay, that is the problem. And we may use the machine learning as a tool to address that problem. In case of machine learning, the traditional way of doing this particular task is that you have to extract the feature which is associated for the car. Okay, car have many varieties, models, colors, and then different kind of feature. Although all cars is having common feature, okay, obviously car is different from the bus. Why? Because bus is somewhat bigger. So all cars almost having the similar feature. All this relevant feature has to extract manually. Okay, we have to make use of some good feature extraction algorithm. Okay, so some of the good feature extraction algorithm that we have to use manually, and then we try to feed those features into the classification algorithm. Then the classification algorithm tries to learn those features and then says that whether it is a car or not a car. But in case of deep learning, you no need to feed or you no need to select a good feature extraction algorithm. Simply, okay, the task is even minimized further. You simply give the input images and then the machine itself decide what type of feature that I have to apply so that I can accurately classify that it is a car or not a car. So as I said, that feature extraction is an important step. Okay, without that we cannot go for the classification. Although it is so important, but it is a very painful job for us to decide which type of feature extraction we should use so that the accuracy can be better. Why? Because the classification algorithm is heavily dependent on the features. Unless the feature extraction is good, the classification results will be poor. Okay, so that type of painful job is also taken into account for the user. Means for us as a researcher, if you want to say that given the image is car or not a car, I can develop a deep learning model as a tool. Then deep learning itself decide what kind of feature extraction that it has to apply, and then directly it will give the output that it is a car or not a car. So that process of feature extraction is included into the black box of deep learning, which is all hidden for the programmer who is implementing that. So that is act as an abstraction for you. So you may read no abstract data type in your hoops concept. Okay, so it is like that abstraction for us. We will make use of those models ready-made available in order to complete that particular task.
Ma'am, in the picture it's shown that machine learning uses the 3 layers. Is
Yes.
it that represents neural network?
Which 3 layers, ma'am?
Machine learning, I can see the 3 layers, and deep learning 4 layers I can see in this picture. What does it represent?
This one?
4 layers. The machine learning 3 layers, like nodes I can see.
This is not a neural network. This is not a neural network. That's the representation. Now, as of now, you consider that it is a black box. Okay. This is a box. And this is also box. Okay. And here we will make use of artificial neural network.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. When you make use of artificial neural network, it will call it as deep learning. It will mimic exactly as a human brain. So we will understand how the human brain is working, and then we'll try to transfer into the artificial neural network. Then it calls at a deep learning. Although machine learning deals with some kind of artificial intelligence. Okay, so we will also have some neural network concepts comes under here. But apart from that, okay, so it also makes use of several supervised learning. As I said, KNN. KNN is K nearest neighbor, and then decision tree, and then Bayes classifier, and then Bayes classifier, other part of the, so that I have shown, right? Yeah. So here, okay. So random forest, logistic regression, Navy Bayes, SVM, or all other algorithm one can make use in this black boxes to solve the problem of classification or regression. Any other?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it, we can understand it like this, that artificial intelligence, for completing artificial intelligence, you have to do deep learning, then machine learning, then only the overall artificial intelligence part is done, or it is either or, machine learning or deep learning?
No, actually, it is the machine learning is, I'll give the problem, okay, and you want to solve that problem. So what is that problem? You say that I'll give some set of images to you, or I'll give some set of images to the machine. Let's say set of images consisting of face images. Now I want to implement, the machine has to classify the face images into male and then female separately. Okay, so what is the task? The machine has to do the task of classifying the male faces into one group, female faces into another group. This is the task. This is actually problem statement. This problem statement can be treated as artificial intelligence. Why? Because machine does not have any intelligence to say that the face is male or the female. Okay, so why we call this problem comes under artificial intelligence. We have to slowly train the machine, okay, by giving more pictures of male, and then by giving more pictures of female, and then says that if you could see these kind of features associated for male, then these are all male. And then you extract some features which is associated for the female, and then it will try to learn that these are the female. Now we are training the machine. How we are training the machine? We are giving more data associated for male separately and then females separately. So the more and more data you give, and there will be a learning algorithm which will try to extract the features out of male and then female, and then it will try to form a strong association between the male features and then female features. Then these features will fed into the classification model, the algorithm, that it will try to distinguish the features which are all belongs to male and which are all belongs to female. So this is the overall task of the machine, overall task of the artificial intelligence. The task is to classify the given images into male and then female. This problem statement is treated, or this particular task, the task is also nothing but problem statement. This comes under AI. Okay, naturally human has the intelligence, the natural intelligence to say that it is a male or a female, whether he is the given picture is a male or female, but the machine does not. But you are slowly transforming the intelligence that we have in our mind. Okay, as the human being, we have some natural intelligence. We are trying to slowly transform those intelligence to the machine. How? By providing more data, and then by implementing an intelligent learning algorithm. Okay, so you write a better learning algorithm so that the machine learn by itself by looking at the more data that you are providing. And then once the learning phase is completed, that is also called as training phase. So the more you learn, the more machine learns, the more or the better accuracy. So what we are trying to do is that we are slowly transforming the natural intelligence what the human has into the machine with the help of tools. Okay, what is the tool that we are making use? That we make some available machine learning tools. Okay, traditionally we have to do all this manually, but in recent days we will make use of algorithms which is available. You have to plug and play, that's all. So what are the machine learning tools available? As I said, that there will be a classification algorithm that is there, and then regression algorithm that is also there. So once you've given the data, you call the specific algorithm which does the classification. Okay, or you call the specific algorithm which does the regression portion, so that you will try to complete the task more accurately. Okay, obviously you have to try for several algorithms, and you have to choose the algorithm which does better performance of male-female classification, and then you choose the one that is for the final. Okay, so all I am saying is that machine learning is a tool, so that you will your task of male female classification make that task easy. Without machine learning algorithm also you could do, but it will be what you have to do in that case. You have to give the input, and then you have to extract the features manually, like you have to extract the edges and then relevant features associated with the male, two eyeballs, and then mustache, location of the mustache, where it is available, and then the ear, the shape of the hair. Okay, so all these informations you have to specifically extract and then give as a feature to the machine. But after introducing the deep learning, you no need to do all these things. You just give the images of a male and female. Now the machine itself learn, okay, what type of relevant feature that I should learn so that I could do this task better. Is that fine? So I have also given an example.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one example I have given. Suppose if you want to, okay, if you want to write a report, okay, or if you want to prepare a resume for your job application, how do you do? Previously, you will write it in olden days, you will take a paper and then you will take a pen and then you will write name and then date of birth, and then what is the tool that you are using over there? You are using traditional method, paper and then pen. After introducing the digital era and then general purpose computer, no one is using paper and pen. So what you go straight away to the computer and then open your word processor and then to do editing over there. You are writing the same information, but it is more accurate. The result of task is much accurate than writing in the paper, because nobody understands the handwritten. The handwritten is not much accurate unless your handwriting is much better, right? But when you type it, the problem of error, okay, understanding the names and then character, the problem of understanding or recognition has become much better. So the word processor, with the help of word processor, you can do it. If you know LaTeX, it will make the appearance even more better when you compare to the word processor. So suppose if you go to the LaTeX, it will try to do an alignment for you also. So you no need to take, or you no need to bother about the alignment in which page it has to go. So all it will take automatically. So it is all that writing or preparing your resume using pen and paper. So pen and paper is act as a tool. If you forget, then slowly we have transformed into the word processor. Now from word processor we have moved to the LaTeX. So all these things is that if you make use of a LaTeX software, your task of preparing resume is much more accurate. Okay, it will be very good in terms of stylish, and then in terms of presentation, in terms of alignment, everything is perfect over there. If you do word processor, somewhat less than your LaTeX. So you can see the moment you see that this document is prepared by the LaTeX or the word processor. And when you go to the previous thing, writing with the help of pen and paper, it is much, although the task is similar, the tool that we are using is going to different. So when I'm relating to the task is to do the male-female classification. One can go with the traditional method, extracting the features manually, or one can go with the machine learning algorithm, which will do better. If you go for deep learning, you no need to even bother about what type of feature extraction you want. You just simply feed the input, and then you will get the output. All the relevant information is hidden to you, but it will done the job. It will do the task perfectly with accurate, much accurate. So all I mean is machine learning, deep learning are tools.
So same problem we can solve either using machine learning or deep learning.
Yes. Yes. How accurate you want? Some type of machine learning. Almost all the problem is solved with the help of machine learning and then deep learning. Recent introduction of deep learning make the task much clear and then accurate. The accuracy of the task has been improved. Why? Because feature extraction has been done more accurate. As a result, the task of classification regression is also more accurate. In case of machine learning, feature extraction has to be done manually. So there will be a human intervention or human error. So because of that error, classification also will result in poor. Is that fine, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. So any more, if you have any other questions? Sorry, Pa. What is the word meaning of mimic? It will act like a human. Mimic. Yes.
Mimic means it's like copy. Okay.
So we'll end up this session 1. So we'll go for the break.
Okay. At 11:45, I think we will join, and ma'am, PPT we will share, right?
I will share. I will create a
Folder.
I will copy day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I will share with all the participants. Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you.
Attendance sheet, attendance there will be like as of now we'll give it 2 times, one in the morning session and one in the afternoon session. So per day, if you notice our brochure, it is like 4 sessions in total per day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Okay. So in the second session in the morning and second session in the afternoon, we will share the attendance sheet along with the feedback form. So everything is together in one form. So
Session 2. will be given by, so we will go for the basics Python programming. Then afternoon we will discuss about theory and theory part or coding part about Bayes classifier. So I thought to discuss basics of Python in session 2. So you people are going to work with us, so you be ready with that. So keep your laptop ready with you and make sure the internet connection is there, and then open your Google Colab. You keep ready and then join after join at 11:45. Thank you. Mobile is difficult, I think. You don't have laptop? I don't know. How comfortable, it's very difficult, you know.
Yes, I think, okay, I will anyway share the screen when coding. So
it will be recorded. As of now, you can, it's better that if you give instruction, you can do parallelly. So we will share the code one by one so that you can copy and then do it on your lap.
Okay. So okay, it's a break time. You can join back at 11:45. And I'll be taking the session. I'll be